when a Scottish Commando in a kilt stopped an entire Panzer Division. Dressed in his signature Clan Macpherson tartan kilt, the Scottish Commando officer inched quietly through the bushes. Pausing for a moment, he peered through the twilight at the enemy gathered just a few hundred meters away. He saw the 15,000 hardened veterans and 200 armoured vehicles of the most vicious SS Panzer unit in occupied France in the summer of 1944, the 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich. They were there for the night, their armour and guns stretched far into the distance. How could he, a lone commando officer, and his tiny band of French Maquis fighters stand up to these butchers? Background. Major Tommy Macpherson was without doubt one of the bravest, most capable and decorated Scottish soldiers of the British Army in the Second World War. He fought with No. 11 Commando Unit and French resistance forces and was called by the enemy the Kilted Killer. His wartime exploits behind enemy lines were so disruptive that the enemy offered a hefty reward of 300,000 francs for his capture. He was awarded the Military Cross and the Quadriga 3 times, as well as the Legion d'Honneur. Ronald Thomas Stewart Macpherson was born in Edinburgh, Scotland on 4 October 1920. He was the youngest of 7 children of Sir Thomas Stewart Macpherson. In 1939 he was commissioned in the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders Territorial Army before serving in No. 11 Scottish Commando in 1940 to 1941. Operation Flipper. In November 1941, Macpherson, as part of a 4-man team, was tasked with scouting beaches before Operation Flipper, a daring mission to strike the headquarters of Erwin Rommel, the famous German commander. After scouting the beaches by sea, Macpherson and his team faced trouble. Their rendezvous submarine failed to appear, one boat leaked, and bad weather thwarted their escape plans. With no supplies or maps and only shorts for clothing, they embarked on a desperate trek to Tobruk. Unfortunately, they were captured by Italian troops within a few days. Macpherson, however, showed remarkable spirit. During interrogation, when asked to demonstrate how his Colt automatic pistol worked, he daringly used a hidden magazine to temporarily hold his captors at bay. Though an untimely attack of the cramps foiled this episode and ultimately led to his recapture. He wouldn't give up though. He made 2 more escape attempts, breaching a camp's inner fence in one, but ultimately remained a prisoner of war until being moved to a camp in Italy. The Italian armistice was signed in Sicily on 3 September 1943, and a week later the camp was taken over by German forces and the prisoners taken by road to Acqui, where they were to be transferred by train through Austria to German prisoner of war camps. In Acqui, Macpherson managed to escape again, but was soon recaptured and almost shot by an angry German NCO, though fortunately an officer showed up just in time to countermand this. He was then taken by train to a POW camp in Austria. Back to Blighty and a military cross. After numerous escapades, literal escapes, recaptures and escapes that is, Tommy Macpherson finally made it to Sweden and was flown back to Great Britain on 4 November 1943. 2 years after he had been captured in Egypt, Macpherson was awarded the Military Cross for his escape on 17 February 1944. Shortly after his return, Macpherson was ordered to report to Milton Hall in Cambridgeshire. He was to be part of Operation Jedra. Team Quinine. Operation Jedra involved dropping 3-man teams behind enemy lines in Europe. These teams would disrupt the enemy through sabotage and guerrilla warfare, becoming rallying points for local resistance groups. Macpherson underwent training from January to March 1944. By the programme's end, he was promoted to Major and tasked with leading Team Quinine, which included a Frenchman, Lieutenant Michel de Bourbon, and a British radio operator, Sergeant Arthur Brown. Team Quinine was parachuted into Aurillac in the Cantal region of southwest France on the night of 8 June 1944. Its mission was to liaise with a French resistance unit led by Bernard Conil. Notably, Macpherson had decided to wear his Cameron Highland battle dress, including a tartan kilt under his jump smock. Macpherson joked later that one of the French Maquis fighters mistook him in his kilt for a lady, to which he explained, quote, "As a British officer parachuted into a resistance situation, your only authority was your own personality, which I tried to reinforce with my kilt and a degree of flamboyance." Blocking das Reich SS Panzer Division. Wasting no time to boost resistance morale, Major Macpherson led his team in blowing up a railway bridge on the Aurillac-Meaux line the next night, June 9. The following day they received crucial intel. The 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich was barreling towards the Normandy beachhead via the Figeac-Toul road. Recognizing the urgency, Macpherson devised a plan to slow them down with ambushes. That night, they mined the road and surrounding trees. Their first strike was successful. They blew the tracks off the leading armoured vehicle, thus blocking the road. As the Germans attempted to bypass them through the woods, the resistance fighters brought down more trees and retreated, hindering their progress. Macpherson and his team continued to hit roads and railways between Brive and Montauban. By July 1, they'd shut down train traffic completely in several key areas. These attacks continued throughout July, and after the Allied invasion of southern France, Operation Dragoon, they intensified. Macpherson even trapped 400 enemy soldiers in a railway tunnel for days. Over 2 months, Macpherson's group caused significant damage. They killed or captured many Germans and destroyed several bridges. Operating in the countryside from hidden bases, Macpherson, alias Agent Quinine, seemed to be everywhere at once. His bold presence, complete with a black Citroën car flying both a Union Jack flag on one side and a Croix de Lorraine on the other, enraged the Germans. They considered him a dangerous outlaw and offered 300,000 francs, a huge reward for his capture. A bluff for a surrender. In the chaos of southern France after the Allied advance, Macpherson convinced 2 German groups to surrender. The bigger group, led by Wehrmacht Major General Erich Elster, had around 23,000 men. An American meeting had already happened, but the Germans seemed to be stalling. So another one was arranged in an Allied-controlled village. Macpherson, unarmed and with just a doctor and a French officer for company, drove through miles of enemy territory, getting machine-gunned on the way to a schoolhouse for the meeting. Wearing Highland uniform, he bluffed about using heavy artillery and air support if the Germans didn't surrender. The German Major General agreed, as long as his soldiers could keep the pistols until they were safely in American hands. Italy. In November 1944, Major Macpherson was sent to Italy and led Italian resistance fighters in northern Italy to attack railways and disrupt German defences around Tarvisio. At one point, during an Allied bombing raid, he threw a grenade at Italian officers hiding in a bomb shelter. Macpherson was then shot by another Italian soldier, but, despite his wound, managed to fight back and stab his attacker. Legacy. After the war, in 1953, Macpherson married Jean Henrietta Wilson. They had 2 sons and a daughter. He continued his service with the British Army, albeit part-time, including a stint with the 21 Special Air Service Regiment, Artists, between 1947 and 1952. Highly decorated for his bravery, besides his British decorations, he was also a Chevalier de la Légion d'Honneur, was awarded the Croix de Guerre, and was personally awarded the Star of Bethlehem and a papal knighthood from the Pope. In 1968, he was appointed Commander of the British Empire. This amazing warrior, this Scottish legend, passed aged 94 on 6 November 2014. A packed memorial service was held for him at St Columba's Church of Scotland in Pont Street, Knightsbridge, London, at which the eulogy was given by Malcolm Rifkin. If you enjoyed watching this short presentation on the legendary kilted killer, Major Tommy Macpherson, then please consider liking and subscribing. See you next time.